Alright, it's been a while since I've made a video, and I just wanted to quickly go over my warm-up routine. It includes both Kovacs and practice range, as well as deathmatch. If you don't have Kovacs, I don't know what to tell you, um, except get Kovacs. I don't play aim labs. I don't know if there are similar scenarios in aim labs. I'm sure there are, but I don't know the names of them. But for those who have Kovacs, obviously this playlist is going to be in the description. You're going to get a code, and it's going to look something like this. Hold on. Alright, there we go. So this is the code. Kovacs griefing AFK bot. So if you have Kovacs, then you can easily look at that. I'm just going to quickly go over each scenario, explaining why it's in the playlist, and also on top of that, how you should play it. Because it's one thing playing the scenario, it's another thing playing it correctly, right? And for Thin Gauntlet, which is the first one, and all of these are done twice. You're able to do it more, but I don't fully recommend doing every one of them 3 times. If there's one specifically that you like, then go ahead, try to do it 2 times. But I recommend not doing any once. Because if you do it once, then it just doesn't help at all. You're wasting your time. 2 to 3 is the ideal, but for Thin Gauntlet, I recommend no more than 2. So for Thin Gauntlet, what a lot of people do is they start to aim with the wrist, and yeah, you're more accurate, but that's not the whole point of the scenario, right? So what I recommend for the warm-up section is, it also depends on your sense, right? But for the most part, aim with your arm, right? Only do arm movements. So right here, you see how shaky it is when I'm using my arm? That's because my arm is not warmed up right now, right? It's not being fully accurate because I need to warm it up, right? It has its weaknesses, right? If I were to aim wrist, right? A lot more accurate, but it doesn't really help. Now I'm playing for score, right? But as I said, it depends a lot on your sensitivity. If you are majority arm aimer, use your arm as much as possible. If you are majority wrist aimer, use your wrist. And that's what I do. I do a combination, but I recommend not only using wrist. Because only using wrist means that whenever you have to do an arm movement, you're not really smooth in that motion, right? And the next scenario also goes kind of into that. So, for example, here, I'm using my wrist, and on top of that, I'm using my arm, right? For this starting one, like right here, when I'm out of my wrist range, I start using my arm. Or sometimes I use both my arm and my wrist in the same motion, just to get the ideal speed matched, right? And I haven't warmed up, so I'm not aiming extremely well right now, right? But I'm just trying to go over it just real quick. Then we have the next one, the control sphere RM Easy. This is a tiny bot that you don't have to track. It's very difficult for a lot of people to track, and I know it's going to be frustrating to not be able to fully have your crosshair on target all the time. Just a lot of people struggle with this, and you might ask, like, yo, why are we tracking? We're playing fucking Valorant, bro. There's no tracking in Valorant, which is true. But the reason we're doing this is to eliminate shaky aim, right? It's building smoothness in the aim. That's the entire point of this, right? Because if you don't have smooth aim, then your target switching won't be smooth, your corner clearing won't be smooth, right? You'll have shaky aim in general. So you need to build that smoothness as the #1 thing, and then after that, you go into the other aiming styles, right? That's why I have these two at the start, right? But yeah, this one is pretty simple. You just keep it on target, right? Nothing more than that. And this one is a little evasive, which means that it will move a bit. But that's just good. It's building reactivity, which is extremely important in Valorant when you're dealing with people that strafe. If they're strafing left to right and you have good reactivity, that is really good. And reactivity isn't the same as reaction time. You're not able to build your reaction time to be something stronger in most cases. Like, sure, you can influence it a tiny bit by practicing reaction time, but I don't do it. I don't think it's worth your time to practice reaction time, and you alternatively, or you should instead practice reactivity. And that just means reacting quickly and correctly to strafes, right? Quickly is fine. A lot of people jump between 150 170 milliseconds, right, on the human benchmark test. But when it comes to in-game, if this thing moves to the right now, how fast am I gonna get my crosser on that target and keep it on the target? That's the most important part, right? And that's where this one comes in hand, and it's really good for most skill levels. And again, if you're missing, don't worry about it. You're here to practice, right? It doesn't matter what your score is. Don't care about your score at all. If you get a high score, that's good. But if you then get a lower score, who cares? Now this next one, Pokeball Frenzy. This one is a bit special. For this, you gotta think. The reason we have this one in the game, or in the playlist, I mean, is because of kill confirmation, right? A lot of people, when they flick onto a target, they shoot, and they think they're gonna hit, and they miss, right? The entire thing, with this scenario, right? I click right there. I'm clicking here. I clicked, right? Here. I clicked for a little longer, right? You have to keep your crosshair on the target for a certain amount of time. But it's not a long time. It's this exact same as flicking. It's just about keeping it there for that extra little while. So you can't just like hit it real quick and go away. You see, that didn't do anything, right? So you gotta keep it on target all the time. And again, as I said, like, I'm not warmed up right now. This is this is not how I aim usually. My house score is far beyond this one, right? I'm just making an example to show how to play this scenario, right? But yeah, as I said, kill confirmation, really important. And it also means the micro corrections that you do after your flick have to be very accurate, right? And they need to stay on target. That's really important, right? Staying on the target. So I'm flicking here, micro correcting. It needs to stay here. I can't go here, micro flick, and then go instantly, right? I can't just go here. Like, I can't flick this quick. I need to stay on it for a tiny bit, and then I'm able to flick away, right? So, yeah, just remember that. Then we have this one, which is kind of similar. It's a mix of the Pokeball one as well as the Thing Gauntlet. And what this one does is it's basically just horizontal movements, very predictable, right? Where you need to also stay on the target for a short amount of time. Again, this builds that kill confirmation and skill on having these accurate micro adjustments and actually staying on the target when you should, right? The kill confirmation is really, really important. And this builds that on top of smoothest. And again, like, if I'm flicking onto this target, I'm not flicking directly where it is, I'm flicking where it will be by the time I'm flicked onto the target, right? Same thing for Valorant, right? When someone's peeking you, you're not flicking to his head, you're flicking where his head is gonna be when your crosshair finally reaches it, right? And this builds exactly that. And again, this is mostly focused on the center of the screen. So it's not going to be very difficult flicks. It's going to be pretty fast ones. Like, if I want, I can go quite quick on this. But again, right now I'm not fully warmed up. But again, as you can see, I can go pretty quick. And sometimes they are left on like 2 HP, right? And that's a bit stupid. But again, it's about building that kill confirmation. You're not going over to the other target unless you know you have the kill. It's really, really important. And that's something like that, right? There, I made a mistake. And that's gonna hurt my score, right? So that's not a good thing that I'm flicking off the target. Because in game, if I'm on his head, and I'm not on his head long enough before I flick away, sure, he might just stay alive, right? Say I'm spraying right now, right? Or bursting, hitting his body, right? And he's suddenly left on 1 HP. Right? It's about staying on that target. And then this one is just very simple. Very simple flicks, right? It's about just flicking from target to target, clicking once. It's very, very simple. It's one wall, 3 target reload. Okay? And the reason it's called reload is just because you have limited bullets. So if I miss one shot here, I have 2 bullets, miss one more, and then I can kill it, and then I reload fully, right? So it punishes missing 3 times in a row, which again builds that kill confirmation or builds the better accuracy, right? Because it actually punishes the miss rather than just letting it go. You can't just, oh, I'm close, I might as well just spam, right? Like it doesn't work, right? So yeah, that one is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I need to talk much more about that. This one, however, is a very weird one. And a lot of people are going to struggle with this one. And it's going to look weird. It's going to look difficult. There's small targets, but this is extremely important for building crosshair placement, click timing especially, and also dynamic aim, right? Because these are moving targets. You need to flick to where they are about to be, right? To where they are about to be. I'm not flicking on the target. I'm flicking to where it's going to be, right? And that's really important in Valorant as well. And this also translates to other games, right? I would argue that Pasu, which is what these next 3 are called, is the most important aiming, or the best category of aiming that you can do, period, for any game. Even if it's tracking, if it's fucking anything, it's just being able to click and get your crosshair onto a moving target is so important, right? And in this scenario, I often flick quite quick. I go like this, right? Very simple movement, right? Clicking on as much targets as possible, and again, you have that reload thing. And it only reloads 1 bullet, so you gotta be careful. You don't get the whole mag back, so you can't be missing a lot, right? So that's why you need to focus on your accuracy as well. Sometimes, like on almost every single one of my runs, even my house girl run, I've always run out of bullets once, right? It's fine to run out of bullets. It doesn't mean you need to restart the scenario. It's totally fine. And especially if you're starting out and it's difficult, it's totally fine. Like missing bullets is fine, having to reload is fine, as long as you're improving in the long run, right? The next one here is a combination of that 1-3 target and the poser one. You see how these targets slightly move, right? Again, that builds that long range accuracy when you're fighting other players, when they're having tiniest movements, right? Being able to get your crosser on the target quickly, accurately, while it's moving very slightly, right? Very important, because that a lot of people have bad accuracy after the flicks, right? They have very poor micro corrections, because Valorant is quite forgiving in micro corrections. Heads are pretty big, their bodies are pretty big, and that's why a lot of the time you get away with slightly missing. But that doesn't mean that it's fine to be slightly missing, right? Ideally, you should be hitting every shot, right? And these sometimes are difficult. Sometimes I miss, sometimes I don't, but like you just gotta keep at it, honestly. And on top of that, I recommend, this is honestly for everything, absolutely everything. Have a straight line between targets. Now I'll use 1-3 targets to explain this, but having a straight line between these targets is so important, because a lot of people, they kind of flick to like another target, let's say the top left target here, right? They kind of flick like this, right? They flick weirdly, very fast, and they over flick or they under flick, right? And I always say it's better to under flick than over flick. It's always better. If I'm aiming from this to this, it's better to flick like this than to flick like this. It's better to flick too close than too far, because your movement to correct it is the same movement that you use to get there. You're not switching your movement. You're not moving another or another way, right? And that's really important. And on top of that, just having a smooth transition. Like sometimes, or in most cases, I recommend focusing on accuracy first, right? And then speeding it up. Once you're able to hit every target, right? You see how slow I'm moving right now? Just making sure I hit each one of those targets, right? And after a while, you can speed it up, right? Once you're getting comfortable, you can speed it up. And sure, you might miss them, but that's fine. You're just building that accuracy in higher speeds, right? Which is totally natural, right? Anyways, I'm gonna go over to this last one, which is the same as the previous one, but this time bigger targets, and they move a lot faster, right? Exact same thing. It's just a bigger target moving a little faster, That's it. So no big difference there, but it's still really important that you finish all of these. Alright, now into the practice range. It's very simple what you're gonna do, okay? You're gonna choose breach. Then I recommend just turning off the audio because it's gonna be really loud. But just ulting every boss away, right? And this is, I've been doing this for so long, and it's really helpful. Just this breach trick, right? Because you can choose how many targets you want on the site, right? So I killed 2 targets, and now I have 2 targets to aim at, right? So I'm aiming between them, and the reason I'm in the practice range, right? Because we did these type of flicks in Kovacs, obviously, right? The reason I'm doing it here is only to kind of smooth or transition from the aim training into the game, right? We're only doing this very briefly, right? I'm aiming from target to target, right? Maybe I want one more target, I'll take one more, right? Now 3. Now just in between them, right? And just do this for like around 1 minute. You don't need to do it for a while at all. And then after that, just hop right into a deathmatch. Now, when I do these deathmatches, I don't care about missing a shot or not, right? That's completely and utterly just irrelevant if you miss a shot or not. But sure, obviously missing a shot is worse than hitting a shot. There's no argument against that. But the main point of the deathmatch is to build your crosshair placement in the situation, right? And it is to build your reaction, your flicking, everything, just translating what you did in the aim training into the game, right? Movement, all that. It's mostly just to sync that movement with the aim, right? Again, that transition into the game. I usually run deathmatches until I either win or I'm just happy with the deathmatches I've played, right? Sometimes I do multiple, sometimes I only do one, right? Maybe I play really well from the beginning, maybe I play really bad, maybe I need to do some more deathmatches, right? Sometimes I even hop back into Kovacs, because I felt like I did something bad, and I do a few more scenarios of one specific map, or a few more runs of that one specific scenario, right? And that's totally fine. Like, the most important thing is that you are playing consistently when you're playing the game, right? If you're not warmed up when you play the game, you're not going to play as good as you played the time you were warmed up, right? I'm not going to hop into a comp game knowing my aim is worse than it could be, right? There's just no point of that. So in general, just play that deathmatch like you would any other deathmatch, but just don't do stupid shit, right? I'm taking my time aiming. That guy's on a crazy angle, right? Weird, but I'm not getting mad. Just gotta relax. Like, sometimes you play bad, like right now I have 2 kills, but that's totally fine. Doesn't mean I'm any worse than I was yesterday when I did a deathmatch. I just gotta keep getting kills, right? So yeah, that was the routine. Obviously I didn't have the prime examples of like good aim in the sense of the scenarios or the deathmatch, obviously, but again, that's because I haven't warmed up myself. Because I thought that would just be a waste of time going through every single scenario to show you guys how that works, because that just takes a lot of time, right? That warm-up takes about, give or take, 30 minutes, right? So yeah, that's the entire routine, and if you guys want to copy it, feel free to copy it, right? I'm still working on the routine. I don't know if it's perfect, but this is what I've been doing for the past 1 to 2 weeks, right? And it's been working quite great. It's been getting me to a consistent level every time I do hop on, at least in terms of aim, right? Mental is a whole another thing. If you looked at my streams recently, obviously I have been losing. I have been playing quite poorly compared to how I did play at the start of the act. But again, nothing has changed since then. I'm still the same fucking person, right? So yeah, there's obviously going to be a bunch of factors. Sometimes you're going to play worse even though you warmed up properly. Sometimes you're going to have good aim, but you're going to fucking suck in game, right? There's always going to be these few things, but that's something you have to work on yourself and see what works best. And again, if you guys need some coaching, it only costs $5 for coaching. If you go to my Discord, you can get one VOD review checked out there and we can schedule it. And yeah, if you guys want that, go ahead and get it. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Hope you liked the routine, and yeah, enjoy.